So Nate Diaz is trying to make his UFC comeback. He's trying to come back in a hurry. He's trying to be back for what looks like, from his tweet on December 23rd, UFC 300 would be tight, but there's nobody to fight. And one of the more interesting possible opponents that commented on this tweet was Dustin the Diamond Poirier, and he left a comment of 5 rounds. So Nate's trying to come back. He's eyeing UFC 300. What's outside of, I think Dustin Poirier is going to be the most likely if this outcome happens, if Nate is able to get put on the UFC 300 card. I think him and Dustin Poirier fighting seems like it has the most possibility of being made into something real. Dustin's been looking to fight. It seems like he doesn't want to fight any of the contenders in the lightweight division. And maybe he's looking for just one more fight, one more big fight that's going to make him some money, and he calls it quits. And I could see this being a good fight for him to do that with. I think this fight sells. It brings attention. I think it's a good opponent for Nate. I think just them matching up can make for a really fun, exciting fight. It's a fight where I could see both of them beating the crap out of each other and being one of those fights that you go back even after it happens and rewatch it quite a bit of times because it was that good of a fight. But if you ask me, hey, if this Nate being there for UFC 300 is going to happen, who would you want, if you could pick anybody to have him fight against? Who would you want to see be booked for his booked to be his opponent? For me, I would say let's get McGregor versus Diaz 3. It's a big name fight to put on the UFC 300 card. If Conor wants his fight to be the main event of the night, I think with him and Diaz being matched up, I think that's really the only way that you could put a fight as a main event, even though you have other title fights on that card. I think that would be the only exception. And I want to see after that fight both of these guys retire. I don't want to see them go too long. I don't want to see them, have like another situation that's going on with like Tony Ferguson, for instance, or like kind of what happened with BJ Penn. I think now Tony Ferguson's uh on a, I could be wrong, but I think he's either tied or on a longer losing streak than what BJ was on whenever he finally uh got forced retired. Um so I just don't want to see them go down that path just because the legacy that they both have in the UFC. I'd rather see them go out on a note like that. Sucks for whoever loses that fight for it to end that way, but I just think that's a great way for both of them to end their career. I think it brings in, like I said, a lot of attention to a UFC 300 card. Makes it easy to build around. I think they can still put a bunch of great fights in there and build up the card even more. But that's what I would like to see. I do think that the Dustin Poirier fight could be a good fight as well. I just don't know with the whole Connor thing. That's kind of a little bit of, is Connor even able to make UFC 300? There's just so many questions with a lot of fights that could be made in the lightweight division and in the welterweight division. We don't know if Connor's going to fight Chandler. We don't know if Oliveira is fighting Makhachev. We don't know if Gaethje's next in line. We don't know if Leon is going up in weight or if he's fighting for if he's going up in weight, or if he's going to be defending his title against Bilal, or if he's going to be defending against Shavkat. I just think the UFC needs to expedite a lot of these fights, them announcing them and making clear-cut answers of what's going on. It's just really hard to know, like, what's going to be possible. And I think within another month or two, I think we'll probably know what's going on. We'll know if Nate's going to make the UFC 300 card, and we'll know who his opponent's going to be. Either way, I think UFC 300 could benefit a lot from having Nate on it. I think any card can benefit from having Nate on it. I just would like to see it be McGregor, Diaz, both of their last fights. They make some money, and if they want to go box afterwards, they can go box. But what do you guys think? What would you guys like to see? Would you like to see Nate and Poirier? Would you like to see uh, McGregor Diaz 3? Or would you like to see even Nate get matched up against somebody else? I know the other day he also had posted a here, let me just pull it up real quick. He posted a little snippet of his fight with Leon and put 300. I don't know if he's calling out Leon to a rematch, but I don't see that being made. Even though the crazy thing is Leon's been on his little run, been looking pretty good. He was in some real danger with Nate in that last like minute and a half of that fight. But we'll end up seeing what happens. We'll see which direction the UFC is kind of going in. I just think there's too much talking going on, and I would like to see some fights made, see what the heck is going on in the lightweight division and in the welterweight division. There's just too much uncertainty. And there's too many people that don't want to fight. It's like, come on, especially in like the tops of the division, where like that needs to not be happening the most, is like top 10, top 5, like all those fights should be laid out. We should know what's happening next, but there's a lot of question marks. But I've gone on a long enough rant for this video. Like I said, comment down below, let me know what you guys think, what fight you would want to see Nate have for a UFC 300 comeback, and catch you guys on the next one. Peace.